Welcome to Go Gettas podcast we have a great say we're doing anyway. I am Colby.
And I'm an ape covered in sauce.
What?
You can call me Fee.
Any idea behind that? Or were you just like, and I'm a looks around room monkey. Yes, I'm an ape. Yes, covered in looks around, sees trash from Whataburger yesterday. Sauce. Yeah.
That is not 100% wrong.
Good.
I mean, you got it. First try, you got it. Listen, I wasn't like totally prepared. I was like, oh, what am I going to do today? And then I made monkey noises right as you started, and I was like, that's what I am. I'm a monkey. And yeah, what's cooler and funnier than a monkey? A monkey covered in sauce.
Yeah, monkey's just honey mustard all over the place.
Oh, fuck yeah, honey mustard, best sauce. Fight me in the comments, honey mustard, best dipping sauce.
Honestly, you're not wrong. We're gonna get into my food crimes though, and I'll tell you.
That was a good segue then.
Yeah, that is a good segue. So I basically usually whenever we record this, Fee, like we set up a day and then I put in a calendar reminder and then we go. This time, I guess I didn't put it in my calendar because Fee sent me a message and I was like, oh shit. I mean, let's be honest. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I'm unemployed. So like, what was I doing? But yeah, so I was like, yeah, fine. I could totally do that. Not a big deal. And then I went to go eat lunch. I went downstairs and I made myself a lunch and I said, wow, this is maybe the trashiest thing me or anyone else has probably ever made. So
you sent me that picture and I was unsure of what it was.
Let's go and pull this up.
Pull it up on our tablet. Looks So are those mini corn dogs in mashed potatoes?
Keen eye. Yes, sir. That's exactly what they are. This is leftover mashed potatoes and gravy that's been mixed together, warmed up in the microwave, and some air fried mini corn dogs that I threw on top because I said, and I quote, you can't just eat mashed potatoes, but I don't have anything else to put on top. I guess corn dogs will do.
That's the thing. I don't think this is trashy. I think this is innovative.
Innovative. This is innovative.
This is innovative.
It's got all your vitamins and nutrients.
Yeah, it's not just innovative. It's innovative. Mm-hmm. That's how you know it's good. You see, I am one who loves combining food. I love my leftovers, and if you could find a cool, interesting ways to combine them, by all means. It's like alchemy. I'm an alchemist. You're an alchemist.
Honestly, so the thing that bothers me most about this is it's a mental thing. It's like I haven't ever seen these two things been put together. They should be separate. I don't like that they're together in the same thing. And I'm like, this is bad. Yeah, they do. However, let me pause it. Let me tell you about this. So, I remember approximately the year because I remember the apartment that I did this in. This was 2010. I was leaving my house to go drive back down to our hometown to go see my parents for the weekend, and I needed to get rid of my hot dog buns before I left. I had 2 hot dog buns left, but I only had, for one reason or another, 1 hot dog. So what I ended up having for dinner before I left was 1 hot dog with like onions and cheese and mustard, and then I had 1 hot dog that was filled with peanut butter and jelly. Just a hot dog bun, with peanut butter and jelly on it. It's just bread. It's just bread.
I thought you were just like, I had a plain hot dog wiener bun. I had no sauce, no nothing, and I thought, what the hell, peanut butter and jelly? Yeah, and I was about to chastise you. I was about to kill you. I could have. Yeah, I would have murdered you. There would have been a death on the podcast.
And you would have been right to do so because at that point, like that's a high crime against reality, and I should be put to death.
Never put like in the immortal words of Kenan Thompson in the movie Heavyweights. Don't put Twinkies on your pizza.
That's right. Thank you, Fee, and thank you, Keenan. Fun fact: that wasn't even in the script. Keenan just like felt it in his soul, and he just said it. So
he knew what life was about. He knew what was everything was about. So
yeah, he figured it out. So like the thing is, whenever you combine foods like that, like I think in my adult life, the first food that I heard that sounded like that, where I was like, well, was spaghetti tacos. Where they just like,
Carly?
No, surprisingly not from iCarly. This was like a BuzzFeed video where this person was like, yeah, so I decided I wanted to spend a week not saying no to my kids. Just anything they asked for, I just said yes to. And one night they asked for spaghetti tacos, and so that's what I made them.
So hard shell, soft shell.
Hard shell is what they did.
I guess at that point it would be just like nachos.
It kind of is. Yeah.
You bite the shell, and the shell is just one big tortilla chip.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one gets that. Just hard shell tacos, especially that are shaped.
Mm-hmm.
They're just one big tortilla chip.
Yep.
And I guess the sauce, it's just like a different nacho. It's like an Italian nacho.
Yeah, it's Italian nachos is what it is, and that sounds fucked up. But like the thing is, like, whenever you have a food that is more about the conveyance of the food, right? Like a taco is about like the shell or the tortilla, and it's like you put whatever the fuck you want to in there. There's a list of approved ingredients, but like you can stray a little bit and it's kind of all right.
I want to say that tacos is like they're like pirates. They're free to roam the seas. You can put anything in them, right?
Pretty much.
So like you're only constrained by your imagination, and it's only gross once you taste it, right?
Yes.
It's like Schrodinger's taco.
Yeah. yeah. You're like, I don't know. Sure, okay, I'm gonna put ground beef. Okay, that's a good base. And then sriracha. That's something, right? That's something. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and then I'm gonna cover it with ramen noodle seasoning. Is that something?
Ramen noodle seasoning on ground beef, on unseasoned ground beef. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, so I do this a lot. I don't know if you do it or if anyone else does it in the audience. If I run out of cheese and I want cheese on like I'm making a sandwich, I'm like, I have stuff that goes in a bowl, but I want like cheese on top.
Mm-hmm.
If I run out of cheese, shredded, block, or like even sliced cheese, and I'm like, fuck, I want cheese. But then I look in my pantry and I have like string cheese. There you go.
That's cheese.
That's cheese.
It's just cheese, baby.
But some people are like can't get over the fact, but that string cheese, like you eat it, just the cheese.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I mean, and I get it because it's a different. I would feel the same if you were like, yeah, if I've run out of cheese, except for those Baby Bell wax covered little cheese guys. But I use one of those, I'd be like, that is a little weird, but it's cheese. Cheese is cheese, man. What are you gonna do?
You get if you have like chili, like leftover chili, and you don't have cheese, and you got those Baby Bells, or even if you do have it, like just slice the Baby Bell. Yes, just shove them in. They melt so well, and like then they fucking mix good. Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, dude, that's the thing is like, if you're not using a food sort of like properly, I guess, like if you're repurposing a food for something else, like if you, okay, like I feel like there are bounds to this because it can't be everything goes because for some reason, if somebody tells me like, oh yeah, I made some sushi yesterday, but I didn't have much, in the way of like ingredients. So it is basically just it's like, seaweed, and then it's rice, and then it's cut up onions, and then it's cut up hot dogs, and like that's a sushi roll. I'd be like, I don't know about that.
No, that is a sushi roll. That's a sushi. It's like not even. It's like American like budget sushi. Like you got the seaweed and rice. Seaweed and rice is like a taco. It's the base. What you put in the middle is like what you do with it. Like No one knows.
Yeah.
You make the whole sushi roll. You fill it with like chopped up. If it was a cold hot dog, I'd kind of be like gross. Just warm the hot dog up.
Yeah.
Warm the hot dog up. Grill the onions and then put them in the middle.
Yeah. Now you're gourmet. Now you're doing gourmet shit.
Yeah, now you're doing gourmet. And don't put it dry. Put like some sauce.
Something in there. You you put some mustard in there. You call it the baseball roll because it's basically a ballpark hot dog, but inside of a sushi.
Dude, no, that's fucking smart. That's fucking. Oh, dude, that's clever. Ballpark roll.
Yeah, that's right. You want a ballpark roll? It costs me 17 cents to make, and I will charge you $8 for it.
Colby, trademark that, please.
We'll have just a whole restaurant of shit like that where it's like, yeah, okay, so the first time that I'd ever heard of onigiri was in college because like before I got to college, my exposure to anime was like, I know it comes from Japan. That's it. I only know like what has been shown on Toonami. And when I got to Japan and I met a bunch of weebs, they were like, oh yeah, this is onigiri. It's like, and they were making fun of like, oh yeah, in Pokemon, they called them jelly donuts. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So they introduced me to onigiri and they were like, yeah, we're having a party to like make stuff. So we got like some tuna, like it's just canned tuna. We've got some fruits for like a dessert one. And then we've got some seasoning. And I was like, I don't really like the idea of just putting some tuna in there. So what I ended up doing is I made an onigiri that just had MSG inside of it. At that point, it's just a seasoned rice ball, but goddamn was it good.
Listen, Japan just eats rice by themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, I can't. So how does fruit taste in onigiri? Because like the thought of rice and fruit is weird to me. So
it depends. Like the rice that you make has to be, because it depends on how you season the rice. Because if you've done like sushi style rice where it's like got a little vinegar and a little sugar in it, that can mix well with some citrus type stuff where it's like, oh, there's like oranges or like yuzu in here and like that's pretty good. But like strawberries or like, blueberries or whatever the fuck, like you probably don't want vinegar in that rice. And it can taste fine. It is one of those things where you're like, I feel like this should be savory and it's not, because Japan has this other thing too where they like, and probably correctly so, I'll say, they're like, oh, American white bread, yeah, that's a dessert. Like, we don't just have that. Like, we put whipped cream on it and then that by itself is dessert. It's bread with whipped cream. And I'm like, that's not the fucking thing to do. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't think it's American white bread. It's like, what do they call it? Milk bread?
Yeah, sometimes it's milk bread. I will say, like, the first day that I got to Japan, we got there at like 5 a.m, checked into our hotel room, and we're just like dog tired. There was like the only place that was open for like breakfast type stuff was the Konbini. We went there and I grabbed one onigiri and I grabbed a couple of pastries, and one of them was, I'm not shitting you, it just looked like a hot dog filled with whipped cream. It was just a whipped cream hot dog. And I was like, surely there's something else in here. I can't read the package, but there must be. Nope, that was it. It was just whipped cream and a hot dog bun. And I was like, it's fine, I guess, but this is a dessert, dog. You know that, right? You know that, Japan?
It was a dessert dog.
Yeah.
God, what I'd give to go to Japan and have like a late night run to a Konbini.
Yeah.
Just to have fucking like family mart chicken, or like Lawson's bento or something.
Yeah, dude. So like on Netflix, there's a show called Culinary Class Wars, which I watched all the way through, and it's great. And one of the challenges was like, yeah, you're gonna have to make like a dish, like a good as hell dish out of convenience store shit. And it was just kind of wild because a lot, like, especially because so the show starts off divided between like what they call black spoon chefs, and they're like, oh, these are good chefs that no one knows about, and then white spoon chefs, which are like world renowned, like one's Italian, like there's a bunch of Koreans that like everybody knows, oh, they've got Michelin stars and shit. And so you can definitely tell the difference sometimes because the white spoon chefs are like, oh, I don't know where to, like, I don't know where to get this sauce. I don't really eat out of a convenience store that often. And then like one Black Spoon chef is like, yeah. After my restaurant closes, I go to a convenience store every night to get snack food. So I know what the fuck I'm making. And like one of them is like making prison ramen and shit. Like it's awesome. So like that's a challenge where I'm like, oh yeah, like if you know what you're doing at a convenience store, you can just throw some shit together and be like, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's like a rehydrated bibimbap. I don't give a fuck, whatever, eat it. And they eat it and they're like, oh god damn, it's good.
Oh yeah. Son of a bitch.
You're like, yeah,
that's
I know.
The thing. It's like, if did the show differentiate? They're like, yeah, from an American convenience store. Because if it was a Japanese convenience store, because the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think it was a Korea. So all of the show is in Korea. So it's a Korean convenience store, which is like about as good as the Japanese one. Slightly less in the department of like pre-prepared foods. A lot of it was like, you know, like ramen stuff and like dehydrated things and some pre-made dishes that were there. I think one person went through and was like, oh, for this dish I'm thinking of, I need this particular ingredient. And it's like in the seasoning packet of this ramen. And so they just took all of that kind of ramen. And so people came back and were like, I'm looking for, somebody know where this thing is? And there's just one fucking ripping open a shit ton of ramen just to get the seasoning packets. And I'm like, damn, this man's on a mission. He knows exactly what he needs.
Look, he understood the assignment. I'm just saying. Yeah, if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. At a convenience store, you can find like ketchup, maybe mustard, mayo.
Yeah.
Damn it. Like I said, it just depends. Like a regular Stripes, you probably have a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
But like a combination Stripes with like what is it called, Laredo taco?
Oh yeah.
Those are bigger, so you'd have a better time.
Yeah, and some small convenience stores here will have they'll have 6 eggs, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess I could get eggs, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like $12. You're like, what the fuck? Sorry, what?
The Stripes here in town, they sell packs of ham and like half gallons of milk, and they sell slices of cheese. So yeah, they have like some stuff. It's just you gotta look for it.
Yeah, it's the shit that you're like, I need to go to the store to get this, but I don't need to get anything else, and I already have to go to the gas station. So like, fuck it. Like I need more milk.
I don't go. I go to the fucking Dollar Tree, dude.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't for some whatever reason, and I know it's fine. I don't trust a gas station milk.
Yeah, the thought is not good.
Like a half gallon of milk from the gas station. Ew, get it away. Like a personal like just chocolate milk or just whatever milk that I want to. I don't know. I'm taking cookies to work. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it feels like if you showed up and like you grabbed the milk and put it on the counter, they'd be like, "Well, we sell that." And if you or you put it down and be like, hey, I can't see the expiration date on this. Do you know when you like restocked this? And they just start sweating. They're like,
fucking chat. By the way, we're live for any listeners.
Oh, true.
Fucking
yes.
Chat. Dude's doing a whole podcast with no viewers with some ugly looking food in the back.
Hell yeah. That's it.
Forgot your abomination was still on screen.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Listen, welcome. It's Memsy to just, if anybody who's like listening via audio is wondering, a random stranger just said that mashed potatoes and gravy with mini corn dogs on top looks ugly. And you're right. It does.
It does. It looks like you threw up in a bowl and just were like, hey, this is still good.
Yeah, this is, hey, I brought back some poutine from Canada a month and a half ago, and this is what it looks like now.
You tried to make poutine out of, from memory?
Yeah. I asked ChatGPT to make poutine, and this is what came out.
Fucking,
Jesus.
Back at the Whataburger. We're back at the Whataburger.
Yeah, whew, thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah, God, yeah. We I can't. I don't know why, but there's some mental block there about like if I got groceries at a gas station, I would die. I would die for sure.
It just depends. sometimes I've had to bite the bullet, and like it's convenience stores. I go to work. I'm like, I don't have lunch. I gotta stop at the Stripes. I gotta get something. No, not at the Stripes. There's like this family-owned store right by where I work, and they sell pizza. They sell slices of pizza.
Okay.
And that's where I go.
Yeah, you get like I feel like getting the school pizza. Like that's what I want. I want to go to a gas station, get rectangular school pizza, please.
No, it's not a rectangle, dude. Pizza technology has come so far in gas stations. They make good fucking pizza, and I love it.
Listen. Here. Let me open this. Here we go. TV. This is all I want. If I can go to a gas station and I can get this, just this pizza is perfect. The Texas school food system will just give you this, and if you say, "Hey, can I get an extra pizza?" They're like, "Yeah, that'll be like an extra $1," and you're like, $1? Yeah, of course I will. Duh.
What the hell are you talking about? We never got carrots.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point. Carrots and an apple. Well, okay, apples at the end. Apples at the end, and they'll like, it's an option whether or not you grab it. They're like, oh, the apple's there. You don't need to take it.
Yeah, I usually, when I was in school, this was a long time ago, I would take the apple and I would just eat it at a different period of class. But the pizza, I would throw everything else. I would, this guy stinks! That's what that guy said.
Yeah.
I would eat the pizza, take the milk, and just go stand outside. And then I would eat the apple, and then I would for breakfast.
Yeah, for breakfast.
I would barter, like, my orange juice for fruit.
Man.
And people were like, oh, get this fucking fruit away from me. I would take the goddamn fruit.
So whenever they started giving out free breakfast, my first class was like a computer class. And I remember most of the people not wanting their breakfast. And so I had to come back to that computer class right before lunch. And so what I would do, especially if people didn't want the strawberry milk, because they would give us 2 strawberry milks and then mostly chocolate, take one of the strawberry milks, put it in to the, like, our teacher's mini fridge, and then I would grab it later, right? Like right before lunch, it's like, oh, let me get that fucking strawberry milk. Oh my God. Oh no.
There's a fly in here.
Oh no, Faith! Are you gonna die?
Well, no, it's bothering me.
It's by hate flies.
I'm listening. Just keep talking. There's a fly in here.
That's the one bad thing about like having video now is like I can't just like stare off into the middle distance and be like, I'm trying to comprehend what you're saying, but my ADHD is fucking going.
I got it.
Hell yeah.
I got it. Sorry.
Don't worry. Crisis averted, everyone. The fly is down.
It was bothering me. It was bugging me.
Fuck. Christ almighty.
Sorry. You didn't see it? Well, of course you didn't. But it was like going back and forth. It was bothering me.
Okay, listen. So I now have another thing to tell you about, because like I told you about my food crimes. I have to tell you that I got a text November 15th from some random number, just a random like number from our area code that just said yes or no appropriate, and the image with it looks like somebody is like writing a review of someone, like they're doing a performance review of this person, and it's like, oh yeah, an intelligent person, good background in handling and receiving. However, her organizational skills need improvement as the parts in and out and her attendance has been an issue.
Wait.
So they texted me that with yes or no appropriate.
So okay, so you got just a random text from a school about a kid that's not yours?
No. I think it's even worse than that. I think this is somebody who has the wrong number for an employee. Like, they work for somebody, they're giving feedback for an employee, and they were like trying to double check it with somebody. So I get that text, right? And I didn't respond because I'm like, okay, I know that there's like scams going wrong right now that are like, oh, hello, my beautiful friend. How are you doing? And then you're like, I'm not who you are. And they're like, oh, sorry, I must have got the wrong number. Anyway, how are you doing? Do you have a bank account? So the next day I get an email Or I get another text from them that says, FYI, Luis will be off Monday. I'm like, okay, I guess Luis is off on Monday. Hopefully someone handled that, right?
Did you text him back? You should have.
Nope, still haven't texted him back. It's because if I text them back, they're gonna stop texting me. Like, because if I text them back and I fuck something up for them real bad, or or I text them back and I'm like, yeah, I'm not who you think that I am, and they're like, oh, my bad, sorry, I've been texting somebody else. Or they get super pissed off and are like, why did you let me text you for Check's Watch 3 weeks?
Because it was funny.
Yeah, because it was really funny.
Listen, I don't have a job. This is my only entertainment.
Okay. Tuesday, the 19th, I get this text. Can you send me Kevin James's phone number?
The actor?
What? Sorry, I guess there's another Kevin James out there, but this does, especially if this is a scam. Imagine if you're like, I'm like, I don't have Kevin James's phone number. Why the fuck would I have that? And they're like, oh, sorry, I work in the Hollywood business. Yeah. You seem like you would be a Hollywood. Send me your headshots and $12,000. I'll get you an audition.
Send me Kevin James's number. I got a script for Paul Blart 3.
Paul Blart, Cruise Cop. That's what it is.
Paul Cop. Paul Blart.
Paul Cop Mall Blart 3. We're having a stroke. That's the subtitle.
I'm sorry. I got mixed up. The fucking Beans was over here, fucking singing a song of his people.
Good. Okay. I then get a text later that same day, an hour later.
Okay.
When you get back, there is a customer in my office seeing if he can rent a forklift.
Okay, what? Okay, so...
What business is this?
First, they want Kevin James's number.
Mm-hmm.
Now they got a guy asking for a forklift. Like, has he even been to work to talk to the people and be like, I've been texting you. Why the hell haven't you answered?
Hey, what? Yeah, why haven't you texted back? I keep thinking that that's what's going to happen, but it just doesn't. So, okay, next day, give me a holler when you get a chance.
Still haven't heard. He keeps texting but doesn't call. He's right there. This
next text that came to me on Tuesday, we get some deep lore confirmed. A reveal here. Hey, Jimmy. This man's name is Jimmy. So now I know that.
Colby, you're Jimmy. You're Jimmy.
I'm Jimmy now. This is a screenshot to him. So the person who's texting me is named Jimmy. Somebody texted Jimmy and said, my sitters are going to be late. They should be here by 9. So I should be in some place by 9:30. I'm sorry. Then another text. I'm sorry, Jimmy, but now they're not supposed to be here until 12. I apologize for the delay, but I will be in as soon as I can. Okay, just sent that to me on Tuesday.
What even is he an employee? What is he? Because now the sitters are gonna.
Yeah, so like I think Jimmy, the person who's texting me, is a manager. Somebody texted him and was like, I'm not going to be at that work site until late because of this sitter. And now they're like, oh, sorry, the babysitters aren't going to be here until noon. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. And so he just forwarded that image with no explanation on Tuesday.
What image?
It's a screenshot of the texts that he got. Just, That's it. Just those. And then today, I was like, okay, that's it, right? Like, he sent this. He's probably frustrated. He's probably going to track down. That's it. He just sent me this half an hour ago.
Okay. Oh, my God. It's active.
And we need to dissect this together. Okay. It says Jesse's time on the 26th shows good in this account, but no time in the account. So
what?
I think the person he's texting is named Jake.
Okay.
So I think maybe it's Jake, comma, Jesse's time on the 26th shows good. Or there's a man named Luis who works for him. There's a woman named Holly that works for him. And there's a man named Jake Jesse that also works for him.
Jake Jesse. Okay, so he has to be like a supervisor.
Yeah.
Because he's tracking people's time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's tracking people's time. Jake Jesse's time.
Yeah.
Shows correct, but also shows no time.
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's the case.
Oh man, that guy's check's gonna be fucked up. He's messaging the wrong guy.
Yeah. Man, Jake Jesse's getting fucking dunked on right now. Jake Jesse's like, what do you mean I worked for 8 hours on Saturday and fucking I didn't get paid for it? What do you mean?
I messaged the boss. I messaged Jimmy. Fucking or wait, no, what was it? Jake.
I messaged Jimmy. Jimmy messaged Jake.
What the fuck? Why hasn't he called?
I don't know.
Just call.
Hasn't called me at all. Hasn't like. If he called, I wouldn't answer it, and then he would know. He'd be like, "Oh shit, this is someone else." Okay, my bad. But I also imagine that like, if he did, he would then be really pissed off that I didn't let him know he was texting the wrong number. Like, I wonder how bad this is making operations for him. I wonder if he's like, "Fuck, man! Like, I was really." Holly is up my ass about this thing, and fucking Jesse's time is all messed up, and it's not even fixed. I told you about this.
God, that's how you know it's like real country or Texan. His name is Jake Jesse.
Jake Jesse.
His whole now Holly's on my back about this. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
Yeah, Luis is having problems with the sitters again. And what are you doing about it? And I'm like, I'm unemployed, man. I don't know. I'm not doing anything. I'm playing Fortnite about it.
You want a job?
I'll get the dub for you. I'll get the dub. Oh, I'm sorry. I got one victory royale for you, boss. Is this good?
Just be like, God, just give me the numbers. I'll let them know. They're fucking.
Just start working for him. Just be like, oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't have their phone number. Can you give me the phone number? Yeah. I don't remember what my credentials are. Can you reset my username and password? And I'll log in right now and get it done.
You just go with it. You just become their IT guy and start fixing their fucking network.
They're like, wow, you know what? Like, the new employee's pulling double duty. Like, my secretary's doing everything via text too. Crazy.
I never have to talk to him.
You know what? And I every once in a while I say like, hey, thank you for taking care of this thing. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And I know he's just being sly. I know he's saying like, you know what? I did all this work for you for free. Big ups to you, big boss man. That's what he's telling me.
What a humble guy that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he's part of the team. I never see him around though.
Then one weekend I just get bored and I'm like, well, I'm gonna blow this thing up. And then on Monday he comes in and he's like, why did you text me 60 pictures of huge wieners, huh? Why'd you text me 60 huge wiener pics? And you said this is you in all of them. Jake Jesse is upset right now.
Jake Jesse can't even look me in the eye right now. He's too scarred and hurt and scarred.
This is a good Christian company. You know that.
Why did you fax me 10 images of your nutsack close up?
Were you hacked? Is this one of them hackers? Did you get hackered?
Did you get Facebook hacked? I've heard about this.
I heard about this on Facebook.
Just this poor tiny company that apparently has forklifts.
Yeah, I guess they rent forklifts and man,
maybe they have equipment. Like I just genuinely am confused.
Yeah,
why he has to go into work and see these people.
Mm-hmm.
Why hasn't he brought up the text?
I know. Or like the thing that I keep thinking is like, let's assume that he has. Why has he continued to text me? Is it because he's like, hey, I sent you a text about this, and the employee is like, oh, yeah, sorry, what was it about? And then they just handle it.
Yeah.
Or if they're like, oh yeah, my phone's acting up. I keep not getting your texts. Just tell me in person. I don't know. My phone's acting real weird.
That has to be it. Like,
you keep texting me and I keep not getting it. I don't know. Text me right now. See if it comes through.
And they just don't check the number.
Yeah.
Because he saved your number in his phone under that guy, so he doesn't know how to get in and see the number.
It's like, look, it says right there. It says I'm texting you. So you should figure out your phone issues. Okay, I'm sorry. I talked to Verizon. They said everything's fine.
They said I'm just not getting the number. You're dialing the right number, right? Of course I'm dialing. What do I look like? You think I'm stupid?
Don't ask questions about that.
I wonder how long this will keep going. Like, I want you to just keep not text. Maybe, oh my God, just play with them. He'll text you, hey, is this okay? And then just hit okay. and then just let it go on for a while.
I am thinking about sending a text to him that just says Merry Christmas on Christmas. Just to get back in there.
Oh shit, that's good. Fuck. I'm invested in this saga of Jimmy.
Merry Christmas, Jimmy.
Merry Christmas, Jimmy. And then he sends you a picture of him and his family.
No!
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, shit. Do I send him one of mine and then he'll know? Or...
Send him a picture of you and your wife and your kid. He's like, wow, you look different on the phone.
I'll just, maybe, I don't know. The way that I think I could keep this up is if I sent him a picture of my dog and was like, look, my dog's having a good time for Christmas. He responds like, oh, I didn't know you had a dog. That's cute. Love that guy. He doesn't know that I'm a different person. He's just like, I guess my coworker got a dog. Oh.
Yeah, he sent you a picture send him a picture of your dog, with your hand on him, and he's like, whose hand is that? You're black.
Yeah. It's Christmas. My one wish for Christmas was to be white for a day, and so here I am.
I'm not white. It was just snowing, and my hand's covered in it.
That's how pale I am. I was just painting a room, and it got everywhere.
The sun came in. It's weird. It's science. It's technology, right? Am I right?
God,
that's so good. That is so fucking good. Oh fuck, my head hurts.
Jimmy is I'm just gonna sit on him. In fact, I'm gonna set that calendar reminder for Christmas right now, just so I remember. Give Jimmy the old text-a-rooski.
Send him the old Merry Christmas. It'll make him feel better. He'll be like, oh, the boss really cares.
Oh wow.
He goes in the next day and he's just like, you know what, boss? I didn't think you cared, but I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You know what? A lot of places say, we're like a family here. You really mean it, don't you? I'm just so proud to work here.
Oh my God, even better. Send him a picture of you and your wife and your kid and be like, oh, look, this is my kids and my grandkid. just really throw him off.
You're 30. How is that your kids and your grandkid? High school pregnancy.
We use the age up filter.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Oh fuck, that's God. I'm gonna need updates on this. This is great.
Yeah, I will give them to you. I also like, I'm entering my, like, I don't want to say prepper arc, but I am kind of entering my prepper arc because, okay, so fun fact, whenever a big, like, twisty, windy windstorm with a lot of rain forms in the Atlantic Ocean, it's called a hurricane. When one of those forms in the Pacific Ocean, because it's not in tropical waters, it's not called a hurricane, it's called a bomb cyclone, which is way cooler.
It's way cooler, but it sounds way more dangerous.
Yeah, they don't get names, which is unfortunate too.
They don't get names.
Yeah,
God.
there's like bomb cyclone's coming. You're like, oh yeah, whatever.
Why don't they get names? That just
Name them. Name them something cool too.
Yeah.
Can't be like, oh, because like all the hurricanes that like have devastated like in the past like 20 years, it's like Irene, fucking Katrina, fucking Harvey.
Do you think they name them mundane names so that way like even though the impact's bad, they're like, maybe it'll lessen the impact?
Man, I don't know. I really want to look up like how, because I know they name hurricanes beforehand. They don't name them after the fact.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like, just like, you know, they come up with ones and they're like, yeah, I don't know. I have a real feeling that like Jay is going to be bad this year. Let's name it like Jerkathy. Yeah, Jerkathy's a real jerk.
I don't know how the newscasters would keep a straight face.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to name a bomb cyclone, I'd name my first one Razor Ramon.
That's pretty. All wrestler names. That'd be so fucking sick, dude.
Yes. Fucking bomb cyclone Diesel came through.
Fucking listen, everybody. We didn't anticipate this, but a bomb cyclone just descended from the rafters. Bomb cyclone Sting is hitting right now. By God, all your houses are gonna blow over.
Oh no! It's bomb cyclone. Vince McMahon's coming through.
Fuck. God. Yeah. So like, this bomb cyclone is starting to hit, right? We pick up my kid from school early because they're like, yeah, like winds are gonna start getting real bad, and like, want to make sure pick them up.
Did you say it on the podcast, or did you just tell me? Or like, I was real confused when the daycare texted me to come pick up the kids that it was getting windy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like,
I went out and was like, God, this wind ain't shit. Like, what are you talking about? This is nothing. So I leave because they're like, oh yeah, gusts up to 40 miles an hour. I was like, 40 miles an hour? That's fucking nothing. I don't give a shit about 40 miles an hour. So I go, pick him up, bring him home. I'm like, it's fine, not a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Except, so turns out, there's a bunch of trees up here where I live.
All right.
And so, along about 6 p.m. that day, wind is going fast, right? I can hear it outside going pretty fucking fast. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. We've like covered up all the stuff. Like, it is super windy outside now. Not raining, just a lot of wind. And then our power goes out at like 6 p.m. And I'm like,
Jesus,
not a big deal. That's fine. 6 p.m. I mean, who cares? It'll be back by what, tomorrow? I don't give a fuck.
not even.
So
In a few hours.
yeah, I'm like, oh, so one tree fell and we're gonna fucking okay. So yeah, I woke up. Go ahead.
I'd say before you finish, can we change this background? Just put up a picture of a bomb cyclone.
Oh yeah.
And draw a mad face on it or something.
Oh my goodness. A man face on it. Bomb cyclone. So here's the thing. It does just look like there you go. There we go.
I don't want to be talking about fucking hurricanes and shit, and then we just have a picture of a school lunch.
Yeah, fair, honestly. Let me see. Yeah, let's pull this up. That's the other thing that we have up here. So we have bomb cyclones, and we also have atmospheric rivers, which is another thing that's just like, it's just like a band in the sky of moisture. So like, instead of like a storm coming through, it's like a line of shit coming through, I guess. See, open image new tab. There we go. All right, here we go. There we go. And there you go. So this.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
Right.
So yeah. So this is Tuesday. Yeah. And yeah, 7 p.m. hits, and power's gone. And I'm like, meh, not a big deal.
Yeah, it's all right.
Put our kid to bed the rest of the night. Like, we don't have a baby monitor, so we just have to like sit up in the, like, in bed and just eat dinner and hang out in bed on our phones. And coverage starts to get pretty spotty, like cell phone coverage. I'm like, that's weird. I guess like everybody's on their phone right now because their internet's down because power's down. Not a big deal. So I wake up Wednesday, power's not on, which is concerning to me. I'm like, okay, well, where the fuck is the power? I try to update like the website. I don't have any data. There's just no data.
Okay.
Just none. My wife has no data. My phone has no data. We can't talk to anyone. So we're just there. Like, okay. So I needed to go and see if daycare was open. Because at this point, I have no idea. Like, is it just our neighborhood that doesn't have power? Is like daycare closed?
Yeah.
So I get in the car. I start driving.
You open the door and just air raid sound.
It's just, oh god, the bomb cyclone's still here.
And it's like just a comedy. Like your wife's like, go check the daycare. You step outside, this fucking horrific scene fucking plays out, and then you just close back the door and fucking leaves in your hair. And you're like, I think the daycare's closed.
Just 2000s era sitcom shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fucking audience laughs. Fucking cue laugh track editor.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I think I got a laugh track actually.
Oh my no. Yep. There it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So so we I start driving. I get halfway to my kid's daycare, which by the way takes me half an hour because there's no traffic lights. They're all down, so they're all four-way stops at this point. On my way to daycare, by the time I get coverage, like I get data coverage.
Is it windy out?
Nope, not anymore. It was super windy the night before, and then just like by the time I get halfway to daycare, I've seen 2 trees on power lines, and I was like, oh, well, that's not good. I get all the way to where I could see daycare, and data comes in that's like, yeah, there's no daycare today. I'm like, cool, totally fine. We'll just leave until this blows over. Not a big deal. I drive back home. The whole round trip takes me about an hour. It usually takes me 10 minutes to get there. Yeah. Just because much traffic, so much like stop and go. Finally make it back to the house. And I'm like, yep, it's fucked. There's no traffic lights. Every store is closed. There's no power. The whole town has no power. All of the town. I check. I finally get an update. 400,000 people are without power.
God.
And so obviously our power company's like, we don't fucking know when you'll get power. I'm like, cool, nice. So at this point,
sorry in advance.
What complicates this further is that I had a Zoom interview that day. I had 2 interviews scheduled that day that I had to email and be like, hey, not only do I not have power, my whole town has no power. So can we like reschedule some stuff? We end up going to a library that's in a town 45 minutes away. Usually it's an hour and a half away to drive there because there's no fucking stoplights. Get there. It's like nothing is happening. It's the weirdest shit because like, oh, coffee shops are open. Like there's not a bunch of traffic. People are going to work. There's internet. Like we go to the library to like hang out with my kid. And I'm like using the internet to like text people and be like, oh, let me reset up these interviews and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. We'll figure it out. Like there's only a couple of down trees, whatever. And so I end up going, like we go back, and it's such a surreal feeling to be driving from like power and civilization back into just like
the apocalypse.
The apocalypse. Like people just like in lines like 20 cars deep for fucking gas for their generators and shit. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, is it that bad out here? It's not going to be for that much longer. I fucking thought.
How long did it go?
So we were without power for almost exactly 48 hours. So that next day, I had to drive back to that library, an hour and a half away, to go do some interviews. And on the way back, because like we get a text that next morning that was like, hey, your power company is here. We're assessing the damage. We could guarantee you'll have power by, keep in mind, at this point, this is Wednesday evening. They're like, yeah, we guarantee you'll have power Saturday at 8 p.m. And I was like, Saturday? What the fuck?
Wednesday.
So I'm like,
God.
well,
Fuck,
yeah, fuck me, dude.
fuck the food in your fridge. Jeez.
Yeah, for real. So we do the best we can at home. I'm like, God, whatever. I don't know. We'll get a hotel tomorrow. I have interviews on Friday. I can't take a shower because the water is super fucking cold. We have no hot water heater. I don't know what to do. And so eventually the next day, I like go to the library, do my interviews. While I'm there, they text. They're like, hey, you'll have power tonight at 6 p.m. And I was like, oh, thank God. And sure enough, we like went over to a friend's house. We were watching DVDs, which like I haven't watched a DVD in so long.
Okay.
And do you know what pisses me off so much about DVDs now that I didn't realize pissed me off? How long it takes between you put the disc in and when you start watching the movie.
Oh yeah, does it have that DVD start thing? It's like now coming soon.
Yes, it's
and
like coming
dude,
soon previews. It's got the FBI warning, and then it's got like a long intro sequence before it pulls up the fucking menu, and you're like, just play the thing.
No. You gotta watch all the preamble. That's how. See, when you got DVDs, that was a fun thing about like DVDs and VHS. They had these cool the cool intro things.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the movie, in my opinion. Whenever I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 1 on VHS, I always rewinded it back behind the fucking trailers and watched the trailer. So it's part of the experience, Colby.
Nowadays, I would agree with you, specifically if it's that old. But we were watching the DVD of WALL-E, and they start playing some preview for something, and my kid is just like looking at it, and he goes, I don't like this. And I was like, I promise you this isn't WALL-E. Just like, once it starts, I'll tell you, and then you can say you don't like it after 10 minutes or so. But like, don't worry about this shit. Just throw this shit away. Don't worry about it.
Your kid doesn't know. He just doesn't know.
No,
he doesn't know. He's used to just pulling it up and being like, I'm gonna watch this now. I want to watch this. Sorry, son. There's no power. We have a DVD. You gotta watch this.
Yeah, I was thinking about what we were gonna do if I got power back but no internet, and I checked, and the only DVDs that we have that arguably a child could watch: Speed Racer, Hook, G Gundam. That was it.
Hell
so
yeah.
I was like, G Gundam, a lot of content there. You know what I'm saying?
You're telling your wife, you're like, oh, we could watch G Gundam, and they're like, I mean, we could watch Hook or Speed Racer. You just throw them out the window. Did I say Hook?
The bomb cyclone took them. Whoa, shit!
Whoa, I guess we gotta watch G Gundam.
Crazy. Yeah, so I finally get back power. My interviews are okay. People were still without power until like Saturday, and some people I drive by, there's still a few trees on power lines. They either must not be important or the people that live there must be miserable. It's one of the two. And so I'm in my prepper era now where I'm like, all right,
gotta buy a generator.
Gotta get a generator. Gotta get a backup battery. Maybe get solar. I don't know. Let's fucking see what happens. Like, if the power ever goes out again, I'm gonna be fucking ready next time.
Dude, oh man. I bet Texas is looking great right about now.
No.
Yeah,
not at all.
If a tree fell on the power line, that would be fixed by that day. And we'd get power back on that night or the next day.
Yeah, however, if you remember, and you may not because it didn't affect you as badly as it did us, the snowpocalypse happened in like the hill country area, and people didn't have power for like a week. And all of that had to do with like, because Texas is like, wow, it never gets cold here. I don't need to put weather stuff on my, why would I put weather things on it? And then they're like, oh yeah, the natural gas doesn't work either because, well, it's also because it's not insulated very well. Yeah, I mean, it's bad, but like, don't worry about it so much. And you're like, this is preventable. We can't do shit about trees falling on power lines here.
Think now that it happened, because that's Texas is reactive, not proactive.
Yes.
That they've all fixed it, and then it won't happen again.
You know, you think that, except that it happened the next year.
I mean, it takes a little bit to
you know, the wheels of progress that take time.
Yeah, listen.
Our
governor only has one eye.
That's he's not the governor. You're thinking about Dan Crenshaw. He's not the governor. Our governor, the governor of Texas, can't walk. That's the one you're thinking of.
Who's Dan Crenshaw, and why is he like my favorite? Not for his policies, but just for his Saturday morning villain look.
He is a congressman.
Okay.
In the House of Representatives.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fair. And who's our governor?
Greg Abbott.
Governor Greg Abbott. That's
right. That's right.
See, I just don't pay attention. This is why I don't pay attention.
Oh, Gregory.
he hasn't done anything to stand out. I know Dan Crenshaw because he stands out. If Greg Abbott wore an eye patch and looked like hilariously cartoonishly evil, I'd remember him.
Well, Greg Abbott, one of Greg Abbott's claims to fame is that he was involved in an accident where like a tree fell on him, and that's what paralyzed him, and he was able to successfully sue and become a millionaire from it. And then whenever he sued, I think the property owner or the people that were like working on the tree or some shit.
That's fucking fucked up. That wasn't their fault.
And then he, as the governor, closed the ability to do that. So he was like, fuck it, I'm rich. Nobody else can get rich like I did. Damn.
What the fuck?
He's a shitter.
Was it a personal property or was it like a business?
Let me see. How did Greg Abbott end up in a wheelchair? Let's see. Okay. From his, I'm going to read this from this website because this is glazing him. On a summer day in July 1984, Governor Greg Abbott, a 26-year-old recent law school graduate, decided to take a break from studying for the bar exam by going for a jog in a West Houston neighborhood, as he'd done many times before. While out running, a large oak tree along his path cracked and fell on Governor Abbott's back, leaving him forever paralyzed from the waist down. After being rushed to the hospital, doctors discovered several crushed vertebrae, splintering into his spinal cord, broken ribs, and damage to vital organs. Yeah.
They didn't say where it came from, or just the oak tree appeared out of nowhere?
Yeah. Let's see.
As he ran by the oak tree, which he's done many times, and high-fived it. Little do you know, the oak tree was mad that day and took it out on fucking Greg.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Abbott sued the homeowner and the tree care company.
What?
And won a settlement, which shows tax-free annuities and graduated payments. The payments began with a $300,000 check in 1986. They included both monthly payments that will continue for the rest of his life and lump sums that are deposited every 3 years until the final one last year. In 2016, during his first term of government, he received $450,000. The next payment came during his second term, $500,000 in 2019, and the final one of $740,020 on November 1st. And he also gets $5,000 a month, increasing at 4% per year, compounded annually.
What the fuck? That is bullshit.
That means that he's made a total of $8.9 million.
That's horseradish, dude. That's fucking baloney to the highest degree. That is malarkey. Charging the people that the tree. God, that is no.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have did that. No, I don't like him.
Yep. That's
You shouldn't have told me anything about him.
Damn it, Greg. But
I had high hopes, Greg.
This actually brings us into our last topic because somebody else just got super fucked by courts, and that's Mr. Elon Musk.
Ooh, big old muskrat. What happened?
So we will see if this ends up sticking, because Elon Musk is so deep in Donald Trump's asshole that he had Thanksgiving with him.
Did they just have McDonald's?
They apparently had it at the country club, and somebody cooked, which is great.
Oh,
Elon Musk has 12 children. He had Thanksgiving with none of them.
Fuck, he doesn't.
He does. He has 12 of them.
What?
Yep. Had Thanksgiving? None of them.
They just weren't invited. I'm sorry, kids. You're just not invited to the Thanksgiving. I don't know how he talks. I'm giving like this African accent. You're just not invited to the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, my best friend Donald Trump, he invited me.
But you're not rich. I'm rich. You're not rich.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, listen. He also said that he doesn't want to leave anything to like his kids, which is very funny to me.
He's like, oh, look at all my blood diamonds. What do y'all have? Nothing.
Nothing. You'll never have anything.
You'll never have my blood diamonds. You want Twitter? You not get Twitter.
You never get Twitter. I like our fucking terrible Elon Musk impression. So
he has like a normal accent, but he has like the tinge of like accent that I just can't place. Yeah,
it's a little bit of an accent. He's mostly a dickhead. So this happened. Basically,
what is it?
A Delaware judge rejected a request to restore Elon Musk's $56 billion Tesla pay.
What does that mean?
So, back in 2018 or something like that, basically, there was a pay package that was set up for Elon Musk where they were like, hey, if you hit these stock price milestones, then we'll pay you a shit ton of stock to do that. And as long as you hit these milestones, then you'll get this pay package. And he met it. He met it. More than met it. But it was taken to court because, number one, this pay package was way lopsided specifically for Elon Musk. It was like, yeah. Imagine if they were like, hey, listen, Fee, we want to give you a bonus for doing a really good job at your site. Your site is like doing great numbers. It's so secure. We're going to give you a bonus, and you got to meet some milestones. You got to crank up your productivity a little bit. So if you're able to do 6 rounds of your site, like on foot, we'll give you $12 million. If you're able to do that once, then yeah, we'll give you $12 million.
I'll do it.
Yeah, of course you would do it.
Yeah, of course I would.
That's the level of like, it's so lopsided for him that a class action lawsuit from Tesla stock owners were like, yo, this is fucked up, and
no, he can't get away with this.
He can't get away with this. He can't keep getting away with this.
He can't keep getting away with this.
And it's because Elon Musk has like a bunch of people that are like personal connections on the board of Tesla, and he replaces ones that don't agree with him. And so they're like, listen, this whole deal is fucked, and like you can't, like, it's gonna really harm Tesla if they have to pay him out with all of these stocks, because Tesla got to buy back stock and not enough money to like keep funding things and blah blah blah.
Oh, wouldn't it make the stocks like really like go down?
It would.
Learning.
It would make the stocks go down, probably. But the bigger thing is that now all of Tesla's money would have to go to just paying Elon Musk, like, stock, instead of actually working and doing research and development and shit.
Don't you own a stock in Tesla?
I probably do. I don't know.
I vaguely remember like you saying that one of your companies gave you a stock in something.
Oh no. Back in the day when I worked for Intel, I got, whenever you work for a huge corporation, what they like to do, so if you work for a startup, they'll give you what they call stock options. So they're like, hey, you'll have these options. We're granting you 20,000 stock options. And you're like, wow, what does that mean? And they're like, well, if we ever go public, or if we're ever bought out by another company, then you have the option to purchase that stock at this price. And there's restrictions with it, with like, oh, well, you could buy it at a lower price, but you can't sell it for 3 months. There's just a bunch of shit. It's like, I never consider that whenever I consider a job, because I'm like, this is fake money that is never going to show up.
Yeah.
I was part of a company that did get purchased by a very large company, and they were like, yeah, all your stock options are going to get paid out. And like, it's great. We've got like a bonus structure for it too. So yeah, the pay for your stock options will be, let me check. You get one additional paycheck. And I was like, I was kind of under the impression that when you worked for a startup and you made it big that you got rich. I'm not rich at all.
That's what all those gurus on YouTube told me.
That's true. I talked to the first engineer this company hired. He has more stock than anyone in the engineering department, probably. And I talked to him about it, and I was like, hey, so like, you're getting a pretty good payout, right? And he's like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, okay. Well, how much? Like, I was like, can you buy a house? And he's like, not here. And I was like, oh. Can you buy a boat? And he was like a small boat, maybe. I was like, damn, son, that fucking sucks.
You just laugh at him.
With your tiny boat.
Can you buy a boat? A small one. Just in his face.
God, fucking terrible, dude.
I see here on this thing you have pulled up that I've been hearing about it. Elon Musk has been wanting to buy out Hasbro.
Yeah,
he wants to fix D&D.
He's so stupid.
No, to be fair, the way they're doing D&D now is kind of lame.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. He's not the right. Elon Musk isn't the right guy to fix anything. My man has no ideas that are good.
No. Fair. It's just I agree with them that Hasbro's running D&D into the ground.
I would agree with that, because that's but
him buying it. No.
Yeah, him buying it. No, thank you. And I mean, it's the same thing with fucking Magic the Gathering. Like, they've got some stuff that's interesting, but also a bunch of like shilly bullshit where it's like, oh, you want to pay us fucking $28 to get this thing, and you gotta wait in line at a digital line for an hour. Like, ugh.
God. D&D. They got rid of races. Now they're just called species. There's no difference between them. There's no cons or negatives to any races. Mm-hmm. All races have a base speed of 30, which is stupid. And orcs are now Mexicans, I guess.
Hell yeah. They say, orale.
Have you seen that picture?
No.
Just type in like D&D orcs, and the orcs are like in a New Mexico setting, and they all have like ponchos and fucking, they have ponchos.
Oh, I
and
see.
Chaps and like a fucking a sombrero. Like, throw it up there. It is the stupidest thing.
This is from an article titled "What's with those Mexican orcs in D&D?"
Like, orcs are no longer like, just they can't be bad ever. They're just misunderstood, and now they're Mexican.
Yeah,
they're like pioneer Mexicans, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, they're like, oh, well, because people say that orcs are like black people, and I never got that. I never understood that, like, ever. And now they're like, well, now they're like Mexicans, and they're good. Just
hey.
This is stupid. This is dumb, and I hate this. As like fun as silly as it is to see orcs like being Mexican in New Mexico, I think it's not a good direction.
I mean, it's interesting. So like, I see where they're coming, right? Like, I can make an argument for this where it's like, this is probably a socially good thing to do, because if you connect two things together, they're close enough that it's like, where you're like, okay, these fantasy races have some sort of basis off of like different races in the real world. They also have different advantages and disadvantages, which you could easily be like, yes, the Mexican race, famous for swimming, in particular across water to get to another country. Yes, that's they love doing that. It's their favorite thing.
They're proficient in swimming
and stealing and napping.
And they're proficient in crafting small goods.
Yeah.
and proficient in cooking.
Yeah.
O-
Yeah.
Only only tacos though.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're proficient in business, specifically taquerias. They're super good at them.
they're the orcarias. Uh, I'm sorry. I just find it stupid. Like,
It's like
it's cool if they were half orcs. I could
Mhm.
understand because they're like half human or half whatever and half orc, and they live in an area, so they kind of get like that culture.
Mhm.
But just full orcs, they're just like, we're Mexican now, eh?
Hey.
Fucking like and the fact that races no longer have any differences. So like, you have a gnome, he could be just as strong as an orc at base stats. I find that ridiculous. That like it's kind of like to Dragon Age Veilguard. People are saying that like, have we become so soft in like a society that like we're afraid to make people upset if like people are weaker or like stronger in some aspects of their life. And I'm just like, yeah, in D&D it was fun to have a group that could all be like, pick different races and then have all their pros and cons, so they're not all just fucking good at one thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's become homogenized to where everything is the same as everything, and it's really not cool. Like, people are just like, well, you don't have to use, like, you could always just use the old rules. I'm like, that's not the point. When a new D&D book comes out, you kind of want to jump into it and like use the new stuff. And maybe the classes are like different, but like, if I want to play a different race, I want it to have its pros and cons so I can role play into that.
Yeah.
I don't want to just role play and be like, well, I'm bad at this, so I'm going to give myself this negative stat. I want the game to give me the negative stat so I can role play.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and that makes sense. I think a lot of it is like, I think they tried to have two things at the same time. They wanted to have like black coded characters, Mexican coded characters. Like, they wanted to bring real life races into D&D in such a way that like you could be somebody who was like, you know, this particular race. And the first thing that you ask whenever you make that choice is like, why do they have this physical disadvantage? Does this have anything to do with the real world? And it's really easy to fall into that quagmire of being like, yeah, well, they can't, they're not good at jumping because they're white. Shit, fuck, shit,
That's the thing. Humans, they're like the most basic of the basic. They're middle of the line. They're not great at everything, but they're not bad at like a lot of things. Dwarves, they're slow and beefy. They're strong. Orcs, they're not that smart, but they're good at like fighting. They're like shaman and stuff. They're good at that kind of stuff, like druids. Elves, they're fast. They're fast and speedy, and they like magic. But they're not that physically strong. Gnomes are smart, all this stuff. But now, like, why even choose a race? Just be like, I'm a blob. I'm a blob. Fucking blob. What does it
Fuck
matter?
It, whatever.
Fuck, yeah,
so
like,
I can tell you why. I can tell you almost exactly why. And this is coming from somebody that like, you actually play tabletop games, right? Like I have played
2 separate games this weekend.
Yeah. You run, like, you have different campaigns, you have played in different game systems. I, on the other hand, I ingest tabletop content. Like, you don't listen to D&D podcasts, really. You don't watch any D&D series or anything like that. I have a feeling that it's because of D&D as a storytelling mechanism that they've decided to do this. Because from a gameplay perspective, that makes a lot of sense. Especially if you're doing like role play and you're interacting with the system, it makes sense to be like, oh yeah, like my character, like, you can start off from basically any point, right? If you say like, I want an elf, what are elves good at? They're good at like these 6 jobs. Okay, I can pick one of those jobs, or I can pick a job that they're bad at, and then I can give it lore reasons, right? The thing is, what I think what I think is the case now is that people have a story that they want to tell. In mind, they've got a character that they want, where they're like, I want a guy that, like, he's, I don't know, he's like a firefighter turned armsman that, like, knows how to, like, all of his family died in a fire, and it was because of some shithead wizard, and now he just fucking hates wizards. And I want to be, but the thing is, like, I really kind of want to be an elf because of these, like, lore reasons. And it's like, well, elf maybe wouldn't be great at, like, wielding a big fucking fireman's axe, right? Like, maybe not the best at doing that. And so you're like, well, why not? Why can't I just have an elf that is a really big beefy guy? And so that's one of the things that I think they're like, okay, we remove that barrier now. Which means that you could play whoever you want, but that removes the good part too. That's like in Final Fantasy, whenever you're like, oh yeah, Cloud is my magic user. You're like, why is Cloud your magic user? Like, he's not good at picking up magic so well. Like, there are healers in this game that, like, do better at magic. Use those to do your healing. And you're like, nah, just throw it all on Cloud. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's what I did when I first started.
That's what I do with Rebirth. Yeah.
But like, and here's the thing, like, if you're it gives you story, like, lore and story elements that you could play into.
Mm-hmm.
You're not strong enough to wield, the elf is not strong enough to wield the axe at level 1. He's wielding it as a disadvantage. As he levels up, he gets the feats to wield the big axe, like two-handed, like, to be better at wielding a two-handed weapon.
Mm-hmm.
and he starts getting better, so it builds. Mm-hmm. So you start out pretty bad, you're like, I want to do this, and this is your job, and this is your class, and you're like doing pretty bad at it at low level, which everyone does bad at low level. They're not great, but as they get to, like, higher levels, even like level 5, you start building into your character, and then you start coming into your character, and you could be like, the reason I'm, good and better now at my job that I've been doing this for a while is because I was training, and now it feels better instead of just starting and being like, well, I was good the whole time. Like, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't, like, if it's just given to you, it doesn't feel good. And,
yeah.
And another thing is, like, you could even be like, oh, well, what if he was a half elf, half human, or half elf, or half dwarf, half elf? Well, now you can't do that in new D&D. They took out any of the mixed race classes.
Yeah, which is weird, because I remember both times that I started a campaign, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be human. And then I was like, I do want night sight, though. So every time I was half human, half elf, because I'm like, I really want to be able to see in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I never play a human. Honestly, never do. I think they're the most boring race. I always play like a dwarf or a kitsune. I've played like the crow people. I've been goblin before. Kobolds, like, it's just more fun to role play as, like, something that you're not. And I don't necessarily, like, honestly, like, because these people, like, we want these races and stuff to look like our players. You want them to look like you, and I'm like, not really. I'm like, they'll have a bit of my personality in them, but not like, I want them to be their own people, and I envision them to look like this. Like, if we started a game and I'm like, okay, you're the DM, and you're like, all right, Fee, tell us your character. He's a human. His name is Felix, and he's big and buff and 6 foot tall.
And he has so many honeys.
Yeah, he got so many honeys, and everyone wants him. The men want to be him, and the women want to be with him.
Yeah.
And, like, that's fucking lame. That's stupid. Come on, let me build a character.
Yeah. I think that's probably what part of it is for, is like, especially whenever you're doing it for the first time, like for first timers that are like trying out D&D for the first time, they're like, I want a character that looks like this, and I don't want any disadvantages with it, because that means that I can't do what I want to do, and I want to do this thing. But once you get into the system, I agree with you that it makes sense to do things like that, because that forces you to make interesting narrative choices, which I think is better.
I think it's bad to give your players everything they want at the beginning,
Yeah.
especially new players, because then they're just gonna always assume whenever they play a new game that, oh well, my last DM just let me have this, and then if they play with someone else and the DM's like, no, we're going by the book, and
Mhm.
the book says you can't. Well, like now they're gonna be put off, and they're like, oh, well, this is not how I played. Like they let me have this, and they're like, well, your DM probably was just being nice.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You follow the rules as read, for making characters and advantages and disadvantages.
Mhm.
Or else you're just gonna you know, take yourself off, just like the same people that watch Critical Role or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, I want to play D&D, and then they start acting fucking goofy and silly and fucking mega performative,
Yeah.
and they're just like, well, this isn't how it was in Critical Role.
Yeah.
Matt Mercer would have let me do it.
Matt Mercer. I feel like here's the tier list of like of people that have made D&D very popular, and as a result, DMs have a lot of expectations foisted on them now. It's Matt Mercer, and then the Critical Role gang, and then below that, I think you got Brendan Lee Mulligan and Dimension 20, and then I think right below that you got the McElroys and Adventure Zone. Because like I watched a clip from Dimension 20 where like there's something happening in this school, and this like barbarian gets like or a fighter or whatever gets like ensorcelled by this like lich or whatever, right? And the lich is like, yeah, you got to go like fight your friends, and the guy's like, oh, should I go into a rage? Should I go fuck him up and go into a rage? And the lich is like, yeah, you should go into a rage and fuck him up. And he's like, cool. Well, I'm going to go into blinding rage, which you just told me to do. And now all of your spell effects don't work on me anymore. Because I'm pissed off. I'm so pissed off. You can't hypnotize me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking cool. That's super cool. However, that's what people see as like, oh, that's what D&D is, and they're like, well, I want to do that in my first session. You're like, no, you can't, dude. These are rare.
The reason they do that on the shows is because it makes for good TV.
Yeah.
It makes for good entertainment. Like, of course, like you could probably get your DM to agree with a little bit of that rule of cool, but like. You can't just be like, oh, we're fighting a sorcerer, so now I'm gonna go into a rage. Now it's all unaffected from you. Like that's just not how it goes. Like I started playing D&D before Critical Role even was a thought, and never have I ever like thought. I only had my imagination of D&D from. God, what even was out at the time that like there was an episode of Dexter's Lab that had a D&D setting, and that's kind of what I had, but I don't know what like where I knew D&D from. I just knew it, and I just know I wanted to play it. And I never had these what's it called, these high expectations of, oh, this is gonna be so fucking, this is gonna be awesome, just like whatever. Like I just thought it would be fun. Can't you see she's a nun?
Can't you see she's a nun? Yeah, it is one of those things that like it is one of those things where you think like I wish that more people had the experience to play games like this, because like when you listen to it, it sounds really fun, it sounds really cool, but then if you depending on what group you're with, if you don't know the rules, it can feel really overwhelming to be like, hey, I want to just go over and like check this thing, and they're like, oh, okay, well, you're over encumbered right now, so I think you can only travel 20 feet, and I don't think you can actually make it there. And you're like, there's a lot of numbers that are associated with this. I don't actually want to play. Never mind.
So let me give you some examples of fun scenarios that has happened while gaming that could happen again or could not if like you're telling someone that's getting into D&D. Back in the day when me and Colby were playing, he played a one-time paladin in our group way back in the day.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, he decided to just pick up and carry a lot of bones.
No. There was a damn good reason I picked up all those bones.
Why?
We went through a tomb. All the skeletons were there. And I said, I think these fucking skeletons are going to get up and get us. So I'm going to take all their leg bones so they can't walk. Now I'm the smart one, huh?
And even our DM's like, well, you got a bunch of bones in your pack now.
I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And then I tried to sell them, and he was like, I'll give you 1 silver for all those bones. And I was like, once for all these quality bones? And he was like, you better be fucking glad I'm giving you 1 silver. I could give you a copper. I could make you throw them away. And I was like, all right, fair enough. 1 silver. Sounds pretty good, actually.
When you hear someone like say that and have that story, that sounds like really fun. And like you have this expectation. Like there's like other times, like I was playing with James Open Legend, and if you know anything about Open Legend, when you roll a crit on any of your dice, the dice explode, so you have to roll another dice, right? So let's say we're fighting these big insect creatures, and I had a shotgun because it was kind of a modern SCP setting. And I was like, well, they came up on us. I'm like, we need to get to the elevator behind him. I'm gonna shoot him and then see if I can get to the elevator. I roll my D20. When you roll, you have skills, so you roll your D20 and the skill, whatever level it is associated with it. So roll D20, roll a D, I think it was an 8. And I rolled a 20 and I rolled an 8, and I got whatever on the 8, and I hit a crit on the 20, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then you get to roll another D20, and I roll it again, and I hit another fucking 20, and I was like, oh fuck, James is like, roll another one. And I rolled it, didn't get a 20 that time, but I had done, I think it was like 50 damage. And if you go 10 over their guard, it hit, or like if you go over the guard, it hits. And I went over so much it had crit. So James said I shoot it and it fucking exploded.
Hell yeah.
Because I crit so fucking hard.
My shotgun's so good.
Yeah, I guess I just got so close and I had the shotgun like right between its fucking carapace, and I blew it up, and everyone was fucking hooting and hollering, and it was a good time.
Hell yeah.
Like you tell people some little stories like this and everyone gets excited, and then like the thing is, like, you don't know that there was like a couple of hours before that of us just like exploring and talking, and then we get into a battle and like shit happens sometimes.
Well, yeah, and they also don't see the parts where like an hour before that in like a previous fight, you like missed a bunch of shots and you took a lot of damage and you had to get like healed before you like went on. You had to get bandaged because you're like, I fucked up so bad.
That happened to me Saturday. I told you the story, Colby.
Yeah.
We were in a boss fight, me and Caleb. We were in a boss fight. And we for the first 30 minutes we're like running around, we're doing like banes and boons. It's Open Legend. And we're, we're whittling them down, we're running away, we're doing our stuff, and then it happens. We just start rolling ones. Every roll for 30 minutes, like more than that, we're rolling ones, we're rolling fives, we're not making anything over 10. We're just we're failing. And at first we're like, oh fuck. And then we're just trying to get creative. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna teleport and throw these grenades in its mouth, and I fail, and I like fall prone on my back, and then James is like, roll to see if you land on your feet, and I'm like, okay, I stand up and I roll, and into one, and I'm like, oh my god, and all you can do is laugh, and we're just fucking cracking up, and it's like, okay, Caleb, see if you can help him out. One, and we're just laughing, like, oh my god. And James is like, okay, well, the monster steps on you, and he breaks my ribs and shit, and then we're like, okay, I'm gonna try to get out. We fail again. Everything we did failed. And he's like, okay, well, the monster's gonna pick you up and fucking bite into you.
Oh.
And he hits me, like I'm bit. And I'm when you get 0 in open legend, you have a chance to come back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And Caleb tries to heal me, fail. I try to make a heal check on my save, fail. James is like, all right, well, the monster bites down harder, rips your arm off, and throws you. You seem dead, and I'm like, fuck.
Cool.
I wasn't mad. I was up and laughing. I was like, why is this my life? And yeah, and then it just so happens earlier in the game, I injected myself with a mystery serum, and it healed me. And he was like, okay, well, the next round, this black energy and tendrils sprout out of you. And now you're back on your feet.
Now you're Jack from Jack and Daxter.
And he's like, now you have this many skills in this. And I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm going to hit him with my black energy. Fucking fail. Fucking
yeah.
fail. James had to pull bullshit to get us out of that fight.
My God.
Because we would have died.
Gotta get new dice.
But that was fun. It was really fun. It was really fun. The fails that we were doing, the stuff we were doing, it was fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not just playing and winning. It's fun to like fail.
Well, that's what I think though, is that like for stuff like that, it doesn't really matter what like race you're playing as or like what your disadvantages are. Like that can happen no matter what you're doing. And so like a lot of the stuff up front about like what you're like disadvantaged in or like what things you're good at, what things you're bad at, seems like overwhelming cruft to new players where you're just like, why am I not good? That doesn't make, I don't know. I don't want to not be good at that. And I don't really want to, like, I want to play a cool story and I want to do cool things and I want to have like the experience that you just had, Fee, but without the bits where it's like, yeah, you're gonna go down the ladder. Oh, except for you, little dwarf man, because your legs are too short for the ladder, so you gotta roll, and because your little leggies, they don't get down there. Just shit like that, where it's like, I can see why they're doing this, but it does give you less mechanics to play with, especially as a seasoned player.
You gotta use your imagination, and you gotta like come up with creative ways. You're like, well, I got like 50 feet of rope, so I'm gonna like what's it called? I'm gonna rappel down.
Yeah,
and then I'm
gonna use my 50 feet of rope and fucking hang myself. That's what I'm gonna do.
That's what could happen. And I just think sometimes like new players have to fail a little bit before they can be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you went into every game just fucking beating ass and taking names, like it gets boring. Like you don't just always want to be a winner.
Mm-hmm.
You want like interesting things, and then everyone being the same, you're like, well, I'm gonna roll to persuade this guard to fucking do this, and the guy you fail, and the guy's like, well, I'm gonna do it too because I took persuasion as well. I already have it. We all have it. Why don't we?
We all have it. We're all persuasive. Huh?
Like, and God forbid anyone be racist in the game, right? Like,
yeah,
guards can't hate dwarves, or elves can't hate dwarves, or dwarves can't hate everybody. Like, God forbid anyone hate anyone in the game. Like, in a fantasy setting, like, of course there's other races who hate other races. Like, it's just normal, and it's not problematic. It's just we're not in our setting. Like, if we were just like, well, that's a hate crime, they'd be like, oh, what now?
Well,
what is it?
Being prescriptive about that stuff, I think, is or I guess not being prescriptive about it, because you're not saying like, oh yeah, elves and dwarves just like don't mix. Being non-prescriptive about that, I think, is actually probably a better choice, because that allows the DM to do whatever they want to do. So if they want to implement that, they can.
I think it makes for better role play, especially if you have a dwarf and an elf in your party.
Yeah.
Like they don't see eye to eye. Like the dwarf and them are always bickering. Could be fun party chat. Like
Yeah.
And then it turns out on the last fucking fight, it turns into the scene of who is it, Gimli and what's his name?
Legolas. Yeah.
Legolas. He's like, oh, never thought I'd die next to an elf. And he's like, what about next to a friend? I could be that. I could do that.
Yeah. But that's like up to the DM.
Yeah, but I think that's character growth. I just think that's fun.
Yeah.
I just don't like that everything's homogenized, right? I that's just me. Everything is so watered down, homogenized. I kind of like the grit of having races being good at different things, and not all races are welcome in some like towns. Like if you saw a big dragon man walking into your city, like you wouldn't just be like, that's okay. Like
you might,
unless
it's normal.
Unless the city it has like a mix of different races. If it's just a city of like normal people, of course they'd be afraid. Like they don't see dragon people all the time.
I mean that's what I mean is like the stats thing. I get the argument for that, because that's like taking away sort of a storytelling element that's been built into the game. Removing some stuff like, oh yeah, these two races don't really gel together, or like humans haven't really seen this thing. Like it makes sense to me that like, because I guess D&D has always provided sort of like, oh, here's your fucking like first quest, go and get some shit out of these mines or whatever. And so it makes sense for a storytelling thing to do that. It doesn't make sense to me to have that for the whole fucking system, to be like, it's built in that these races don't enjoy each other's company.
To be set in stone, of course. Like I think it's just kind of like lore that they don't really gel. But like you could be like, well, in my setting, because we're not playing in like fucking Daggerfall, or whatever. Like they may not see eye to eye, but that doesn't mean that every single part of the race, feels that way, and that's fine. Like you could still like side eye like characters. It's just that I think that in the new D&D, they're just like everyone is cool, everyone's like happy with each other, and I just don't think that's like interesting.
I think, well, yeah, it's not interesting, but I think that's where like your job as a DM comes in, because, excuse me, because whenever you're talking about like, building the lore and building the world, if you're playing in somebody else's world, you have to play by their rules, and I think that makes sense. If you are playing in a world, the like D&D to me is supposed to be kind of boilerplate. Like we're giving you the system, we're giving you suggestions of like races and classes and like feats and shit. The story should be kind of up to you. And if you're playing like, oh, I'm playing Lords of Waterdeep, like, yeah, of course you like, you listen to the lore, you like play in the system that everybody else has been playing in. But to start off with that system and being like, yeah. You know what I love and put into my system? Racism. My favorite fucking thing. It's like, well, if you want racism in your thing, sure, go for it. Like, it's not prescriptive that you can't have it. It's prescriptive that like it's not part of the default.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fun to have at least some people not like certain people. Like especially if you make your own worlds. I would of course think that like people from different areas would be like, well, I don't trust those goblins, the thieving goblins. They come into my shops and they steal my goods, and they're always fucking stabbed me in the ankles, and they took my job.
Stabbed me in the ankles.
Just of course, because goblins were a monster race that you can play as a character race. I don't think that like everyone you come across is like, "Ew, get out of here. we only accept humans. In
We
this
only
town."
accept
Right.
white humans.
Yeah, I was about to say, and white ones at that. God, no, like.
What do you mean you're Irish? Get out of here.
I think humans, in a fantasy setting, are accepted no matter what their like color, because like you can't be like, oh well, that's an African American. There's no Africa in this setting.
Yeah.
Like, they're not American either. They're just black.
There's black,
and
yeah.
it doesn't matter. They're brown. They're just human.
Yeah.
Humans are human, and all humans accept each other unless they're like in poverty. Then they're slaves.
And then they're, yeah. And everybody hates poor people, so that's fine.
Everyone hates poor people. They smell like doo-doo.
Yeah, that's right. They're born smelling like doo-doo and poor.
Well, it's because when they're born, like, in their fucking barns, they fall right into a cow pie to soften the blow.
It's true. That's the lore I have for every poor.
That every single poor. In fact, poor is a race in my
That's
world.
right. Correct. They roll disadvantage all the time.
Every time they start with negative money.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Colby, we're at the end of the show. Take
We
us
are.
out.
Listen, thank you for listening. If you've listened to this live, congratulations, you're already here. But if you want to listen to it live, go to twitch.tv/GoGetUsPod. We go live anytime between 0 and 2 times a week. You can also catch the audio version of this podcast that comes out every Wednesday at 5 a.m. Pacific time, so you can listen to it on your way to work. But if you do want to catch the video part and you want to see my delicious food crime, you can check that out at our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@GoGetUsPodcast. That'll come out the same day as the audio podcast, but a little bit later. It'll come out at noon Pacific. And if long form media is not your thing, you want some shorts, boy, do we got some shorts for you. Check out our YouTube for that, youtube.com/@GoGetUsPodcast, or our Instagram Reels, or our TikToks. So
yeah,
they're all good.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, formerly X formerly Twitter. X is gonna give it to you. Follow us on all that. Like
right.
all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Share it all around. Say, hey, look, I saw these funny guys, and they're like, hey, why are you talking to me? I fucking hate you. Do it anyway. Send it to your grandma. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into your fridge right now. Look at all your leftovers. Presumably it'll be like Thanksgiving leftovers, but I'm sure there's other leftovers. Put them on the table, spread them out. I want you to get a tortilla, and if you don't have a tortilla, I want you to go get some tortillas. Okay. Soft ones, better. They're the best tacos. Soft tacos. I want you to look at all your food, determine which ones would taste good in this great tortilla vehicle. Put them in the tortilla, put some sauce on it, throw it in the microwave, put some cheese on it, melt it on, eat it. And then when a couple of hours go by and your stomach is like really feeling like, oh man, I want you to go take a dump and then realize you're out of toilet paper. So now you have to go to the store and go get some.
Go get some. I was wondering where it was going to come. There it was. We didn't talk enough about poop on this show, so it makes sense. Have to cram it in right at the very end.
I had to get my poop quota out of the way.
Yeah, it's getting toward the end of the month. We gotta. I mean, boy, we really gotta. We gotta hustle. It's December 2nd. We're late.
December 2nd. I just haven't talked about poop enough. You know I have to, Colby.
I'll go crazy for it.
The more I talk about it, the more I can punch in my frequently used poop card.
Yeah, I put in my hours but it's not reflected on my paycheck. I gotta ask Holly. I gotta talk to Jesse Jake and see what's going on.
Jesse Jake doesn't know I'm trying to multi-class into poop mancer.
Yeah, come on, Jimmy. Jimmy, get with the program. Get the sitters, Jimmy.
Jimmy, does that guy get this forklift already? Jimmy,
Jimmy, come on. Luis isn't even here.
Luis hasn't been here for days. Where the hell's Luis?
Holly!
I gotta go deal with this. I gotta catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.